But the point is that if you get in touch with your roots, if you find out where you came from, it's a very powerful experience. A few years ago, I put together a family reunion for my father's side of the family, which nobody had ever done anything like that. And so I just sort of opened the door to do that. I got the most out of that, just learning and just visiting the graveyards and finding out what my grandfather was shot when my dad was 10 years old. I didn't, nobody explained how it happened or why. I learned why. It was kind of embarrassing. I won't go into the story, but basically he was shot because he was in a struggle. he was in a row, as they say in Britain. And he just got shot. He was doing something stupid. He was probably drunk and just got shot. And so that was part of what, yes.
And I find this to be interesting conversation and an interesting perspective that you have. What are some of the reasons for under-earning or money flowing in another direction?
The main reason I found is because, for example, I've been an under-earner most of my life. That's the reason why I work on this stuff, because I'm trying to get beyond this myself. I have been. I've been making some amazing strides recently, which I'm proud to say is not because of me, but because of my loving wife has been there like a rock the whole time. But the point is that there's also this connection, like we're talking about. Even though I'd worked on my own stuff about accepting being worth, I felt like I was worth several million bucks. It didn't matter, but I didn't have this connection. And even after I did the reunion, did all that stuff, I didn't really integrate. And the work that I do, the Money Matrix method, has to do with specifically dealing with money issues. There's also a technique I use called the logical soul, which you go in and you deal with all different kinds of issues, whether it's relationships or health or money or whatever. But I have found that this is the big challenge. Dealing with money issues is one of the biggest issues people have. And after I began focusing on that and finding out some key elements that go into this, it really started opening doors for me, because that to me is the ancestors leaning down and saying, keep going, you're doing all right. It's like they'll pat you on the back and they'll say, yeah, I've supported you all along, you just haven't let it in. Mm-hmm. Anybody ever have that feeling that somebody's watching over you, you just don't know who it is? We call it the guardian angel or whatever. Mm-hmm. Probably your ancestors. I don't know scientifically what that means, but there is a feeling that you have inside that you can do things. And if you're under earning, it's probably we sort of feel like we have an obligation to our ancestors to carry on their burden sometimes. Does that make sense? Like my dad always struggled financially, so there was a part of me that felt like I had to struggle financially, just like my father and his father before him and his father before him. And that's not true. If you ask them, they'll give you permission to let it go. That's why I discovered that by default. It was like, holy cow, I asked them and they said, yeah, you're not obligated to keep doing this. Please stop. And so I did. It's like I felt this tremendous relief. It's like this burden is lifted. And so what I would suggest you do, and I'd be happy to talk with you. I do sessions, and I'll be here until Tuesday morning if anybody wants a session. But what I would suggest you do is just go do this testing. And then there's 4 steps. And also, by the way, if you want more information, there's a website. It's called moneymatrixmethod.com. And if you go there, there's a video, and you can sign up to get the free video inside where I explain a little bit more. Some of it's rehashed, it's going over what I went over today, but watch the video. And there's also a report that I give you that goes into not only the technique itself, but how you can actually use this and go in to find out how to change your matrix. I don't say fix your matrix, because fixing is not a word I use in this context. But if you want to change the values in your matrix, you can do that using this technique.
We're over time.
We're over time. Okay, so this is all I've got to say. I want to thank everybody for being